like to call to order the additional appropriation hearing. This is the first part of the agenda. The notice of this additional appropriation hearing was published as legally required. This time I asked Dr. Hardman to talk a little bit about the reason for the hearing.
So this hearing comes about for additional appropriation. So what we are doing is we're asking to take out 1.2 million in general obligation bonds. If 2 months ago, we had another hearing to approve the unified project for $10 million. This is not in addition to that, this is part of that. So if you remember, when we did the 10 million, we did that so that if there was needs over the next 5 years that we had in our operations fund, we'd be able to use part of that 10 million to help with those projects that we wanted to do. This is part of that. So it'd be a $1.2 million general obligation bond. We would use it for repairs, paving, HVAC stuff, not part of the other HVAC project that we are doing, technology. So we have a variety of things that we would like to use this money for.
We're going to open it up to the public. Is there anyone that would like to speak? If not, we will continue moving forward and ask Dr. Hardman to talk about the resolution.
So the first resolution that we'll approve tonight is the adoption of the additional appropriation resolution. The school board must approve the appropriation of the bond proceeds to be spent on the project cost before any bond money can be expended. Unlike appropriation of tax dollars, this additional appropriation of bond proceeds is not required to be approved by the Department of Local Government Finance.
Are there any questions? If not, we need a motion to adopt the additional appropriation resolution. So moved. Second. All those in favor, raise your hand. 7-0. Move on to ask Dr. Hardman to talk about the second.
So the second part of the resolution is actually just approving the bond resolution. This final bond resolution establishes the amount to be borrowed, maximum term of repayment, and maximum interest rate. It also contains the details about the bond, such as the form of the bond. So in that particular resolution here, you can see this one's a little longer because it goes into detail about the different tax rate, how much how much debt we currently have, how this plays into that debt. So this particular general obligation bond would be for $1.22 million. We would use it for roofing, paving, HVAC improvements, purchase of buses, equipment, and technology. So pretty much much of our operations expense that we have. Lately, we've had a lot of repairs, one to the pool, the other to the sewer and plumbing areas out at the track complex. If you were at an event at the end of the year, you know you were not able to use our locker rooms or our bathrooms because of that. So our buildings are getting to the age right now where those expenses and those fixes are becoming more frequent, and the expense to fix them is quite high. So that's what this final bond resolution does, is it basically just lays out the terms of the general obligation bond, and then the amount, and then the repayment. And I can show you here too what that repayment looks like. So here's currently our debt. As you can see in 2026, the different colors signify different parts of our debt. So that yellow at the top is the first mortgage bond series 2025. So that's what we took out last year for the baseball field. That was on a BAN, which is a bond anticipation note. So for the first 5 years, we only paid interest on that before we actually took out the bonds for that. The next blue would be the general obligation bonds that we took out in 2024. That was to replace the junior high roof, the dehumidification system, and the playgrounds at the elementary schools. The gray there is the solar lease in the middle. And then the purple is the first mortgage bonds of series 2013. The good part of that purple area, is that goes away in about 3 years, which frees up some more of our debt, along with the blue that we had with the general obligation bonds of 2024. So we like to keep our debt around that $3.5 million range each year. And so when it's not there, if we don't take out more debt, which is what we're doing right now, we restructure our debt to move up the other payments so that we can keep our debt, our levy, right at the $3.5 million range. So what does that do to our debt? You can see here the terms, it'd be 5 years, 6-month repayment. And then you can see what the debt looks like afterwards. Now, this also includes the HVAC project that we are looking to do. There's some capitalized interest in here in the beginning. That's what's sending us over the top of that 3.5. But once we know that final number for our HVAC project, that should come down. I'll talk a little bit about that at our the continuing business portion of the meeting. But so right now, that's how it looks. The gray is this new deal bond that will be taking out the 1.2 million. The yellow is the HVAC part of it. You can see there what that looks like.
Any questions? If not, we need a motion and a second to adopt the final bond resolution. So moved. Second. All those in favor, right hand. Seven up. And need a motion to adjourn this meeting. So moved. Second. All those in favor, right hand. Seven up. Adjourned. I'd like to call for the regular school board meeting for tonight. Are there any considerations of the agenda additions or deletions?
I have none. So the agenda is as it was published.
We'll face the flag and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any celebrations? I didn't have any events. I know we had some track kids that did really well.
Graduation over.
Yeah, graduation, that should be a celebration. 114 graduates this year, so that's definitely, and it went well. Well, thank you to all those that were able to come. Our track kids did well at regions. We had a relay team go on to state. And I believe a pole vaulter and a sprinter. So that's exciting for that.
I saw where Brantley Blair finished third in the nation yesterday in the Brooks PR National Track.
Oh, great. Third. That's great.
Third in the nation.
Oh, wow. Good for him. I know I saw you on state earlier, so. Great.
Was that Portland?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember if it was in Oregon or Washington. Yeah.
Well, it's probably out there. It's one, it's real.
Yeah.
Out there.
Nice. That's awesome. Public participation? Gonna take over for you.
Move on to the consent agenda. And everyone's had a chance to go through and look at all the things.
Yeah, so for personnel this month, we do have quite a few more than what we've done or we've had in the past. Generally, we have those that, are leaving and moving on to a new opportunity. So we have a couple of those with Ms. Walker and Ms. Stanley. And then we also have Michael Mock resigning from our water operator and wastewater consulting services there. Some appointments, we have a substitute along with a couple of our high school soon-to-be seniors that will be work-based learning instructional assistants at our elementary schools. So that's kind of exciting. That was something Mrs. Liddick basically tried for us, 3 years ago now?
This will be our third one this coming year. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
We
she
took
kind
one
of,
for the team and it was amazing.
yeah, she's like, okay, I'll take the extra hour.
I'll just take one. Oh my gosh, it was fantastic. So now we're
Yeah.
going to sign us up every year.
So they do. So they are part of the work-based learning program. They get the school rate of $10.75 an hour. They work 2.5 to 3 hours
Yeah.
possibly a day. They take on many of these same roles as an instructional assistant within, yeah.
Yeah, within
They still have
reason,
supervision.
yes. They still have supervision with them. But it's fantastic. The kids absolutely think it's the best thing in the world. And especially when graduation rolls around and the kids do their senior walk, it's a lot of fun to see the connections that they make.
On to, this is the part that we don't normally see each month. Due to some budget restrictions that we're encountering right now, with our enrollment declining, we've had to do some reductions in force this year. We've had 3 teachers that we had to reduce positions. Andrew Moracle at the high school, math teacher, Victoria Walter, 6th grade at Swayze, and Jennifer Moss Fuller, 3rd grade at Sweetser. So those are the certified positions that we were needed to reduce this year. We also had some non-certified positions. We reduced 1 custodian, Vicki Wilson, as well as 3 instructional assistants, actually 4 with a retirement, but 3 instructional assistants at Converse Elementary, Tammy Edgington, Karen Fight, and Brittany Purdom. So due to, again, coming back to our need to really reduce our budget and cut costs, total, we have 11 positions. This only shows us 7, but total we have 11 positions that we reduced this school year for about $630,000 cut out of our budget, which is a good start for us, but I worry that, with all the changes to legislation in our, the tax base, and our reduction in students, we will have to continue to really watch this each school year. So we've had some transfers. Megan Beischer from preschool to 6th grade ELA. We had some instructional assistants that are moving positions, staying in the same school, moving positions in Morgan O'Banion and Haley McDowell. Bethany Peterson will go from kindergarten to 1st grade, and Samantha Metzger will go from 1st grade to 3rd grade. You remember Sam used to teach 3rd grade and moved over to Converse and now has very unselfishly offered to move back to 3rd grade. So we thank her for that. We also had 2 terminations with instructional assistants, Caitlin McGuinn and Kinzer Anderson, and that is all of the personnel and the consent agenda.
Anybody have any questions? Not need a motion in a second. So moved. Second. All those in favor, raise your hand. 7.
All right, next on the agenda is just an update from our architect and our construction managers that's working on our HVAC project. So our milestone, our big milestone where they'll be 95% complete with documents is June 26th. They will reach out to us and set up a meeting after that. Documents are completely scheduled to be done in July 20th. So far, numbers that are coming in on May 18th, as of May 18th, excuse me, was about 17 million, which if you remember, when we did our maximum amount for that HVAC project was 25.5 million with their preliminary estimates on that. So that's a very positive thing with it coming in that much lower right now. They did have some alternatives in there, if you remember. So those are something we will consider after we kind of get those final numbers. Here's the schedule for the project. Complete final design July 10th, issue project for bid July 29th, receive bids August 26th, board approval of bids September 14th, start construction spring of 2027, complete construction of winter of 2028. if you notice, this goes throughout the school year, and we've talked a lot. We've even talked to our teachers and I'll remind them again at our back to school meeting, but when this starts, there will be some movement of classrooms, for they thought 2 to 3 weeks at a time, depending on how things go. So our staff will need to be flexible. I know our principals are kind of already thinking about what that could look like. We're lucky right now in the fact that we do have some empty rooms in each of our buildings. And we'll utilize those as construction begins in each of those. So you can see, any questions on that?
When will they be back to see us?
I'm gonna guess probably in August, the August timeframe. Maybe July, but since we go out for bids in July, and receive them back in August, they'll meet with you guys to kind of go through those.
Okay,
So
I'm just curious.
I'm gonna guess that. I thought they were gonna be here this month, and instead they sent a summary, which is.
Tell Chris we're just really angry.
I know, well, I'll tell them that you really wanted to see that. That now, next time you do it, it might not go so well.
Yeah.
All right, on to new business. We have our elementary and our high school, junior high handbooks. This is the first reading, so this is just a review. So in your folders, you'll see the elementary, they both look a little different. The elementary, the changes you'll see to the right side here. Oh, are they not showing up? They're not showing up.
I wondered if you made a copy of it.
Okay, I'll get that figured out. And then I will. I could have sworn when I tried it.
I'm gonna tell them what I did.
Yeah, you want to just talk about
So a lot of it was just like formatting issues, like there were several different fonts throughout the document. On that first page, the links to every one of our elementary schools were broken. It went to a page not found, so I updated all of those. Mr. Horner didn't have a complete phone number, so I fixed that.
Oh, you
I think that was on that.
I think that was on.
I think that number
I was so upset. I'm really
Now it's in bold.
I do want to tell you that was pointed out at our last meeting that they feel like Gary is the favorite here.
Gary's in Gary, but none of the
His
rest
name
of
is
us.
bolded and nobody else.
Well, actually, I was gonna make Andy's bigger and in color, and say call him first.
Yeah,
First point of contact.
Andy, our email address is not in blue under.
I know, so, but
I
you
have
did get
no
your
idea
name
why.
bolded, Gary, so you're still one ahead of.
Yeah.
And since they finished his phone number, I think Andy, they really dislike.
People know how to find me.
I was-
We made one small tweak in the dress code. There was a thing in there about no tank tops, no sleeveless shirts. And I changed it to be that they can wear something that has a 2-inch shoulder strap. Because let's be honest, a lot of women's professional wear is a tank top with a jacket. And with our HVAC the way it is, our kids sometimes are melting in the classroom. So no spaghetti straps, no tube tops, but I'm okay if they wear a tank top. Other things we updated, the cell phone policy, obviously ours really stays the same, but just updated some language then in that discipline matrix for us. And then added something in the discipline matrix with regard to cheating using AI. We did have some kids figure out last year that they could use Google Lens to do math problems or pretty much answer any question. So we updated that, the use of AI is also.
No, we don't know how to do all of those
Yeah.
things yet, so we're still pretty good on our discipline matrix.
And probably the biggest change for Swayze, it has always been that 6th graders playing junior high sports had to meet certain academic requirements and had to have a sports physical. I feel strongly that our 5th graders should also have to meet certain academic requirements in order to participate in sports. A lot of our kids will do that, no problem, but there are some kids that could really benefit from a sport. But if we don't push them to meet that academic piece, they're not going to, and they're still gonna participate. But I feel like if we push them to do the other and we're monitoring that, we can get them to do both. Because it was particularly heartbreaking to have a conversation with a sixth grader this year. He couldn't participate in wrestling anymore, and he was just heartbroken. And had we set him up for that in fifth grade, I probably wouldn't have had to have that conversation in sixth grade. So we did add that to the fifth grade piece as well.
I
think that's about it.
I think that was it. On the cell phone policy, that also included smartwatches.
Yes.
Just that verbiage, I don't think had been in there before, but now
No.
smartwatches are as well.
Because a lot of our kids have them.
Kindergarten has had one, and the mom was upset one day when she
Oh, I
called the student during class.
Oh.
And the student was not allowed to answer. Mom was upset as to why.
Do we have a plan in place for notifying parents of the changes?
Some have already, the high school and junior high have already reached out to their students and their parents
Because
about the
that's
changes
where we'll
coming.
get pushback.
Yeah, right.
It's much more strict. It's bell to bell now. It's smartwatches, it's gaming devices, it's everything. And when we come down hard on a high school kid with a mom who wants to call midday and gets kid in trouble, we're gonna hear about it.
I really think for our elementary students, they've been, I mean, even in my building, they've been really good about if I catch them with it out and I say, go put it away, or it's gonna be mine and somebody else can pick it up. They usually do. It is few and far between that we have an issue. So I think if we're able to say that same thing with kids, if they come up with a smartwatch, hey, you gotta put that in your locker, I think that overall they'll comply. So,
And then my other question with it, do we have a training plan for the staff so that they're all on the same page? I've heard from different people that some teachers enforce it, some don't.
Well, now they don't. have an option.
Okay, I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page that, no.
Yeah, and they started, like I said, I know Mr. Means and Mr. Smith started that pretty heavily at the end of the school year, letting them know of the change coming. We were supposed to get more guidance, this summer, and who knows what that'll look like, as far as. But right now, our plan is they have to keep them in their lockers, for dawn.
My
Throughout the school day.
understanding is the Department of Ed is still debating on what kind of guidance they want to give. They really want to give something that will be effective and not cause more problems than it doesn't. That's what the meeting I was at last Friday, that's basically what the guys said.
Horses already left.
I
I'm sorry.
I realize that, but some of that is also because of the legislature.
Oh, it's absent, that's all of it. I feel like the Department of Education is just gonna try to help us,
Right.
understand it. But giving that to us in July is pretty difficult, when we've known about it since.
I got you.
April, March, April, so
He heard all that.
I'm good. Anything else on the elementary? Not that I remember. Okay, and then the high school, junior high, this one, Mr. Edwards does a lot of the revision part of this. He consults with both Mr. Means and Mr. Smith. And you can see here, he puts the changes right at the beginning of what will be changed. So then you can go into it and then you can see there. So if you want the entire handbook, it's on our school website. I can link that for you. But basically, he puts.
So small.
I know.
Wow.
He puts the, changes and highlights those here. So if you want to compare with, it's on our school website. So, and it's green. I feel like that's so hard to look at, what I mean? But usually green means what you add and red means what you take out, but not so much. So if you have any questions with that, next month will be the approval of those. But in the meantime, if you have any questions or anything. On to the third agenda item is to approve the recommendation to discontinue the Oak Hill Schools preschool program effective at the end of the 25-26 school year. And both Mrs. Liddick and I are gonna probably have a little cry over this.
3 years ago, we started this program. First year, amazing, no issues.
Had a
Wait
wait
list.
a wait list that was deep.
Yeah. So we kept our 16 student attendance ratio, our 16-to-1 was a kind of our ratio. We wanted 16 students to attend. The cost was $100 per week, with the exception of some of those short weeks like Thanksgiving, Christmas, a couple of those short weeks in there. So I think they ended up paying about 33 weeks of the 36. That year went great. On to the second year, we struggled a little bit with keeping it at 16, but we probably struggled more with people being able to pay.
Starting out feeling like they could pay, started out on a good schedule, they were on it, and then all of a sudden get close to Christmas and those payments fall off. And then it's hard to get caught back up.
So this year, we saw a lot of the same from last year with even less enrollment. You were down to what, 11, 12?
We had 12 to end, and we ended up with at least one of them moving away, like moving far away. But our wait list was not deep. And so people that we would call for the wait list had already found another preschool somewhere. So that also made it tricky, and that's why we couldn't fill those spots.
Yeah. So in the 3 years, we ended up deficit spending, which some programs you can do that with, and we feel like it's still, but with this particular program, I think we're about what, 20,000? We're about 20,000 in the negative over 3 years, and we just felt like with the financial state our school is in right now, that's something hard to take on, even if it's just 10,000 a year. Which it kind of averaged out to be about that, because the first year I feel like we broke even. I felt like it was good, and then these last couple of years have been a struggle. So our proposal is that we not continue increase our paid preschool. Now this is different than our special needs preschool.
Correct. Our developmental needs preschool will still maintain.
Yeah. So this would be the paid preschool program that we offer.
And if we do have peers that join that developmental needs program, they would only be half day, but they would pay $50 a week rather than $100 because they would be half day.
Anybody have any questions?
Thank you for trying.
It was wonderful while it lasted. The kids' scores on Brigance, the Brigance test is what we give, the screener that we give them as they begin, the screener that we give them as they exit preschool, and it's also the 5-year-old Brigance is the screener that we give our kindergartners when they come to roundup or before they come to kindergarten. And our preschoolers, every one of them were scoring in the high 80s and 90s out of 100. We know that it was an effective program. We know that the kids were learning, they were engaged, they loved it. It just, unfortunately, the financial side of it just couldn't maintain.
Our worry also, and I included in the memo, is what enrollments would look like. We were struggling to get numbers this year. Next year, we are looking at half. Right now, we only have 70 in kindergarten. So that is a real worry. Obviously, we picked some up over the summer, but we've never been this low, this late in the year. So if we're struggling to get kindergartners, I think our worry was we would really probably also struggle to get preschool. So
What's the average? 90?
90. Well, it used to be, when I got here, it was over 100.
Yeah, when I started at Converse, we had about 115, 120. Then a few years ago, we were trying to maintain that 6th spot. And we knew 100 was our magic number to be able to maintain that 6th spot. And we ended up, I think, with 105 or 106 that year. But that 90 to 100 is a good sweet spot. And I don't know who the 5-year-olds are. I do not know where they are.
So that, one of our reductions is a kindergarten section right now.
And that teacher's going to first grade.
Yeah, so we're a little concerned right now. Hopefully we can pick a few more up and get as close to that 90 threshold as we really work hard to get to. So.
I need a motion. Right. Motion to discontinue the preschool program. So. Second. All those in favor, right hand? 7-0.
Also, the last thing on the agenda is the setting of the graduation date. Next year's a little unique.
So what graduation has been, or how it's been, at least since I've been here, and I think even before that, it's the first Sunday after Memorial Day. So Memorial Day next year is late, it's the 31st. So the next Sunday would be June 6th, 2027. And so we just want to make sure that information gets out to parents as soon as possible, just because it is so much later than it has been the last few years. So it'll be June 6th at 3 p.m. at OHUSC. It's a Sunday.
All those in favor? Or, skipping a couple of steps. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? 7-0.
All right, on to report of the superintendent. We have Mrs. Liddick here tonight, and she's going to do a little bit, her and I will tag team the second part. But she is going to share a little bit about the IREAD 3 scores and testing that was recently done at Converse. And then Mrs. Switzer had something come up kind of last minute on her way here. So she's not able to be here tonight. But Mrs. Liddick and I, we will work through that. She has a little bit of a presentation too we can share with you. So Mrs. Liddick.
Okay, well, obviously we gave second grade IREAD back in March. Our scores at that point, we finished with 53 students that passed, 3 of which were perfect scores. That is our highest number of perfect scores to date. We were very pleased with that. 1 student was, I think, 1 question off of that perfect score, so we almost ended with 4 perfect scores. So we then had students that we needed to look at in the yellow, which means they are on target to pass, and then the red students are at risk. So the state now offers second grade a second administration of the IREAD. So in May, our students who were yellow, meaning they were on track, were able to retake that IREAD. And then we had a few students that were in the red at-risk range that were not able to come to summer school due to prior family obligations. It's summertime, we get that. So we retested, and of the 19 yellow students, we had 12 more pass. So that brought our pass percentage up to 67% from 54%. We were very pleased with that. And then we fast forward into our summer administration. In June, we had, well, starting at the end of May, into June, we had 17 students attend summer school, many of which already currently have an IEP for considerable learning needs. So it makes it tricky. We're never sure if we're going to get any others that pass, but we're always looking for growth. That's what we go into it with. We're looking for growth. If you could scroll down.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good, you're good. So then we did have 1 more student pass that was red and went to green and passed. So we were happy with that. That brought our overall passing percentage for the year to 68%. Very pleased with that. But I think our biggest piece for June, for the June administration, was how many students grew and how much they grew. We had several students that grew at least 100 points, bringing them up into the on-track range, which then sets them up nicely for Sweetser when they retake again in March. So we were very, very pleased with that. So we're sending 30 students over to second grade who will need to retake that IREAD. But with the number that we have passed, we're very pleased with that. So 68% passing, but our growth this summer in summer school was wonderful. The kids were there, they were engaged, and they were excited to be there. We had some moms that were like, "You're going to get a grumpy kid. They're not going to want to be there," but they were excited every day when they came in. So it was just nice to have a continuation of school. There was literally a 3-day weekend, and then we started again. So it was a good continuation.
And it's like 3 hours in the morning.
Only 3 hours in the morning, and they were able to break it up with snacks. Who doesn't love snacks? So, yeah, snacks and a recess. So they were pleased with that. But they really did well and had some nice growth. And I was able to speak to some parents today just to make sure they had seen those scores already. A few of them had, a few of them had not. And the ones that I was able to speak to were very excited about the growth. So we had 2 students that went from red so close to the green, 1 that missed the pass by 1 point and 1 that missed by 4 points. So I know. So we were very pleased with that growth. Those 2 grew well over 100 points.
So at the second grade level, those students will be able to test again in March,
Correct.
in May, and in June, right?
Yes, that's correct. So in second grade, we can only take it 2 times. So our yellow kids have to test in May before they leave school. The red kids don't get to test in May unless they had prior obligations. They came to summer school. That's their second administration. But in third grade, they have the opportunity to test 3 times, March, May, and June. But we're hopeful they won't have to do that part. We're hopeful that they'll get it in March.
So looking at Sweetser's, here in her spring testing, when they first tested in March, she had 14 out of 29 pass. So if you remember last year, so this would be last year's second grade, I believe about 75%, 75% passed last year.
It was, yeah, like 73, 74, somewhere in there, but we were in the 70s.
And so then only those students that did pass in second grade have to retake it, and that's why it's only 29. So 14 out of the 29 passed in the spring testing. You can kind of see there. She's got it all broke down. Those who started at risk, those who ended up passing.
She had 11 that ended up passing of that 23. On here, that's right. I'm sure she meant 29. She probably just didn't have her document. Yeah, her document in front of her. And she says that there were no students that were retained due to iRead. Those that need to take it will continue to work on their reading gaps through their IEP. They already have IEPs, the students who did not pass. So because of that, those students would have a good cause exemption. That means they won't get retained. However, they do still have to continue to take it until 7th grade until they pass it. So, but there were no retentions for 3rd grade.
So it looks like in the summer testing, 15 students took the test, 3 more passed. So there's a total of 12 that did not pass that will need to continue. And she did the same thing. They looked at growth in that area, and 6 out of those, of the 12 students that didn't pass had growth on the test. So that's always a positive. I think our overall results, yeah, we're at 88% pass rate. And the state cutoff is 75.
I think so, yes. Yes, they're looking to see if you can be 75% or higher. So we're well within that. And in fact, we always in 2nd grade get really excited to see just how close we can get to that as 2nd graders. So
yeah, it was 70% last year, and they've increased it to 75. And I see that continuing.
Oh yeah, I do as well.
Any questions for Mrs. Liddick? The last couple things on the agenda, I just report to you on both the town of Converse and Marion have TIFs that are, what that is they collect tax dollars that don't come back to the school. So in doing so, then they report to us each year whether there will be some extra money left over or there won't be. We just got the city of Marion's today. Andy and I attended the Town of Converse Redevelopment Commission.
Kathy apologizes again. She was furious that the depot didn't show up and they had trouble getting hold of her. She was embarrassed, so she apologizes again.
That's we've had struggles like that sometimes, you know, when people haven't been able to, or they forget. Just a couple things. Both have indicated to us that they have no excess assessed values, and that means that no money above what they collect in that TIF or what they need to use in the TIF will be coming back to the school. The town of Converse shared that they have for this year about $94,000 that they collect in TIF monies. And I put into your folder that information from previous years of their plan. Right here, their plan of how they have to do this a year ahead of time, kind of like we have to do our budgets. So they're probably a little bit playing catch up as to, you know, this is what they anticipated they'll need to use it. Now they know what they're going to have, the 94,000, and then they'll use that for whatever they can for the different projects that they have. So, but the TIF comes off in 28. Yes, so that means that no longer will they collect that, keep it to go back into the town
Unless
area.
they extend by.
They
They
have
can't.
already extended and you only get 1 on extension.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they did share that,
They
that
would
in
still
28.
have the residential TIF for
Yeah.
new subdivision,
Right.
but the downtown district will not get to it.
That's something they still look forward to. But 28 is a long time. And it's only about 94% right now, so. Anything else that you guys have that you want to talk about or share?
If not, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor, right hand? 12.
Well,
Meeting adjourned.
You-